Okay, well, I'm super excited to be here. This is my first time meeting with people like this. And so, Lynette Rice, come on out.
I can't believe it's been 46 years, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Me either.
Can we go back to the very, very beginning? How did you get this job? How did you audition?
Yeah, well, the short story is that Mark Burnett, I heard him on the radio, on the Jonathan Brandmeier radio show, talking about this crazy idea, and I was instantly attracted to it. For the same reasons I am today. I just felt like this is going to be something that goes much deeper than some of the other things I was being offered at the time. And so we met for 2 hours and we talked. He mostly talked, and I didn't realize it until a couple of years later. He was still figuring the show out when he was talking to me. And he was auditioning it on me. He was basically pitching me to see what I responded to. And then at the end, I was like, well, wait a minute, we haven't talked about me. And I said, I'm a writer. I'm a student of the human condition. I've been in therapy. I get this show. And he said, well, very nice to be so honest, but nice to meet you. And I left, and that was it. But when I left, I thought there's only one other guy that could get to do this show, Phil Kogan, who had been hosting. He and I worked together in New York. And 5 months later, I got called to go back to CBS. They said, it's you and one other person. And when I looked in the sign-in sheet, the other person was Phil Kogan. And so we were definitely, I was definitely in sync with the show. But I'm not kidding when I say I wanted it then as much as I'm glad I'm a part of it now. It's never changed.
I have to think you actually grew into the job. Is there a year that you felt like, okay, I've hit my groove right here?
No, I'm still finding it, for real. In the beginning, Mark was really cool. If you're ever like working with talent, he gave me permission to find it myself rather than telling me how to say it or telling me where to stand because I have massive authority issues. And instead, he would just say, I trust you, so just do what you think is right. And so he let me sort of, stumble along, but find my own voice so that now, 3 years later, I feel authentic hosting Survivor. I'm naturally curious, and that's what I bring to it, and then I try to put myself from the standpoint of the audience. What would anybody wonder right now? Like, you're standing so weird with your hand on your hip. What is happening? Whatever that natural thing is. So the job is easy in that sense, but as I evolve as a human, I change how I host Survivor.
What do you mean you have authority issues? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's deep. I just took a good medicine journey the other day, and we talked about that to my guys. No, I'm kidding. No, just meaning like I never really liked somebody to tell me how to be on a show. And most shows they do. They want to write copy and they want to put a thing in your ear. Mark never did that. There's never been a writer on Survivor. I've never had an earpiece. There's nothing. It's just a live experience where you get out there with a group of people and you just sort of go and you see where it takes you. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm terrible. But I'm always just in it. And it's the funniest thing is that when I see people and I talk to them, especially if they're in the industry, at some point they will tilt their head and go, wow, you really love Survivor. Like it's a weird thing. And I say, yes, I love human behavior. For me, Lynette, this is the thing. We're called a competition reality show. To me, that's what separates us. Is for Survivor, the competition, the game, that's the MacGuffin. That's the misdirect. Is you come to play the game, and if you're a Survivor fan, you know what that means, to find an idol and to run off a big challenge and jump into the water and blindside somebody. But that's the lure. The game is the lure, the experience is the prize. Which is why at the end, when I say, who here feels different? Everybody's like, oh my God, I'm a completely different human after 26 days. You have to play the game to get the experience, but it's not about the game, it's about the journey. And when I met Mark, I said, this is Joseph Campbell, it's Hero's Journey. And he's like, Joseph Campbell, who's that? And I said, you gotta read this dude because that's the show you're making. All these people are gonna go on this journey. It's just cleverly disguised.
Do contestants